Hello and welcome to the first webinar in the 2021 series in Pharmacovigilance and Drug Safety, hosted by Inno Vigilance and RX course. With you, Shams Kayand. I'm a PharmD, a certified clinical researcher, and I'm the co-founder of RX course. With me, Dr. Omar Aimer, who is the pharmacovigilance expert. We're going to go in depth about Dr. Omar Aimer and about our webinar for today. But before we go in deep in that, let's talk a little bit about Inno Vigilance and RX course. So what is Inno Vigilance? So give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So Inno Vigilance, 1 second, just all right. So let's talk about Inno Vigilance. So Inno Vigilance is Inno Vigilance is the academy. It's working with healthcare providers community, pharmaceutical industry, and academia, spreading knowledge by exclusive online trainings and webinar in drug safety and pharmacovigilance. With our drug safety and pharmacovigilance online certificate for fresh graduates, MD, PharmD, nurses, and master science holders and PhD life sciences and other professionals joining this field. Our activity is impacting positively and improving patient safety, which is the core objective of pharmacovigilance. So what about RX course? RX course is an online platform about continuing education in pharmacy. So RX course is a platform that has social learning, like a social media, but at the same time, courses conducted over the platform itself. So we have made an arrangement with Inno Vigilance Academy. They have the science, and RX course would do the development of the courses that are conducted by the Academy. So now, let me welcome Dr. Omar Aimer, and let me tell you more about his long experience in pharmacovigilance. So Dr. Omar Aimer has a PharmD and a PhD. He's a pharmacovigilance, drug and device safety expert. He is working in Big Pharma. It's a global company in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So Dr. Umar has a bachelor degree from the University of Oran in Algeria. At the same time, he got a PhD in pharmacology from the University of Algeria and master's in industrial pharmacy from University of Paris and pharmacovigilance and drug safety from University of Paris as well. He has a very long pharmacovigilance. So he started as a lecturer on pharmacovigilance at the University of Oran, and then as a quality control in pharmacovigilance, he worked as in the Department of Quality Control and Pharmaceutical Products Laboratory Director in Oran in Algeria. And he is he was actually pharmacovigilance pharmacist in Paris, and he worked as a pharmacovigilance and drug safety and device safety pharmacist in France. Right now, he's working in Big Pharma, Pharmacovigilance and Drug and Device Safety Specialist in Quebec in Canada. He's a speaker and chair of Roundtables, World Congress, Americas, and Europe, and he is articles author with the AI impact on pharmacovigilance. He is a member in the ISOP or in the NA North Africa ISOP, the International Society of Pharmacovigilance North Africa chapter. And he got a certification of improving global health safety quality from University of Harvard in 2020. Welcome, Dr. Omar Aimer. We are so thrilled to have you here today. And let's go dive into the subject of today about the adverse event data collection by regulatory authorities and pharmaceutical industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Shams. Thank you, all the attendees, all our students who are here also attending this webinar to have more and more knowledge regarding the pharmacovigilance activities in health system, in pharma industry, pharma companies, and healthcare providers. So yeah, we're talking today about how to get the data, the safety data collection, the reported adverse events, how to stimulate the reporting of adverse events. So let me share my PowerPoint, my slides.
I would like to remind our audience that please make sure that you are registered on Eventbrite, you have filled your names, your email addresses, because we have a surprise for you at the end of the webinar, and that little surprise, it will be sent to you over the email. Okay, it will not be shared on this live video, so it will be only shared for those who registered.
Thank you. So also, as we are spreading the knowledge of pharmacovigilance and drug safety as a member, as Dr. Shams mentioned, of the International Society of Pharmacovigilance and the North American Society of Pharmacovigilance in the US and Canada, let's just remind you the definition of the pharmacovigilance, which is the science and activities relating to the detection and collection of adverse events and all related all problems related to drugs and devices and pharmaceutical products in general. The detecting, so we collect the safety data in pharmacovigilance. It's collected, and it's the collection, the understanding, to understand this data, to analyze this data, to assess and evaluate this data, then to prevent this data. So we collect the safety data, which it can be all the safety data and the problems can be related with pharmaceutical products. So in pharmaceutical products, we have drugs, we have vaccines, and we are talking nowadays about the safety of the vaccines and safety surveillance of the vaccines against COVID-19. It can be also medical devices, it can be cosmetic, and also the other pharmaceutical products.
Okay.
So the pharmacovigilance cycle begins with the collection of this data, the spontaneous that we will see in later in the other slides. So how to collect this data, how to stimulate the reporting of this data, how to manage when while receiving this data, how to manage it, how to analyze it, then the review of and the assessment of the data to make the triage, to assess the serious events, the non-serious events, and other adverse events, for example, for special interests.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Umar, I can't see your screen yet. If you could share it with us, please, if you don't mind. Okay. Yeah, we are good.
So as I said, we begin with the collection and the management and the analysis of this data, then the review and the assessment, its review and assessment. Then we are not collecting the safety data just to collect it and to make it in safety databases and assess it, but we are making this activities, conducting these activities to assess, then decide and take action to prevent, to communicate, and then prevent this adverse events, which can be serious and to impact the health systems, to impact the patient safety. So the communication is very something that is very important in pharmacovigilance. We will see how. Then to monitor this, those actions, which can be risk minimization measures throughout the risk management system with the risk management plans. Here we are talking about the pharmacovigilance ecosystem and the communication and who communicates with who. So first, the patients, the patients and consumers using this product, pharmaceutical product, so they can report the adverse events, serious, non-serious, and know sometimes the problems related to the pharmaceutical product without AE, without adverse events, such as PTCs, which are the product technical complaints. So all the complaints. Sometimes we have also a benefits from the product. So all the information, negative or positive, I mean the adverse events, all the complaints can be reported directly to regulatory agencies. In the US, the patients and healthcare professionals can report the adverse events directly via a system which is MedWatch to the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. Here in Canada, patients and healthcare professionals can report those complaints, the adverse events, serious, non-serious, and others, lack of efficacy, for example, to health authorities via the MedEffect system program or Canada Vigilance program. In the European region, they have also the Udra Vigilance that the patients and healthcare professionals can directly report this information directly to the European Medicine Agency. The healthcare professionals also, as I said, they can report to the health authorities, but also that they can also report to the marketing authorization holders to the pharmaceutical companies. And when these pharmaceutical companies receive this information, they assess it. Of course, they manage this adverse event. They process this information, this data, and it's also communicate to the regulatory agencies. Patients, as I said, also they can report the data directly to the marketing authorization holders. So there's communication between all of these stakeholders, from patients to health authorities, from patients to marketing authorization holders, from patient to their healthcare professionals. So the patient can report his experience or her experience, their experience, event to the, as we do a day always, to report adverse event to the pharmacist, community pharmacist, or the hospital pharmacist, or to the medical doctor. So all about communication, all about reporting adverse events, or reporting the complaints regarding pharmaceutical products. Then the regulatory agencies also, they receive all this data, but they make communication to healthcare professionals, to the marketing authorization holders, to patients with new guidance, with new guidelines, with new actions, as with the minimization of risks. So all the communication to the three other stakeholders in this figure. As we are talking about the guidelines and guidance, and the ICH, as you know, as you may know, which is the International Council of Harmonization, the guidelines are provided for quality of the product, or pharmaceutical products, their safety and their efficacy, and also multidisciplinary disciplinary considerations. But as I always mention, that for a product, for a pharmaceutical company or biotech or small biotechs, to get the approval, this is the first objective, not the main objective, but the first is to get the approval. As we are seeing nowadays with the to get the approval for vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines. So the must have a good quality, with a good quality and the efficacy. This is the three main points to get the approval from health authorities. So the quality, those relating to chemical and pharmaceutical assurance; the efficacy, those relating to clinical studies in human subject; those response studies, good clinical practices; and the pharmacovigilance planning that we will see in depth today. Then the safety, and it's just part of pharmacovigilance, but in the guidance of ICH, the safety, those relating to toxicological and in vitro and in vivo preclinical studies. The multidisciplinary disciplinary considerations are cross-cutting topics which do not fit in unlikely with the quality and the efficacy and safety. So for the efficacy guidelines, we have the clinical safety with this acronyms E1, E for efficacy, so E1 to E2F. The pharmacovigilance and all the guidance of pharmacovigilance in the ICH guidelines are from E2A to E2F. So the efficacy guidelines, the work carried out by ICH under the efficacy heading, is concerned with the design, the conduct, safety, and the reporting of clinical trials. in our webinar today, so the main guidance of our interest is E2A to E2F, the pharmacovigilance, the clinical safety data management, for definitions and standards for expedited reporting. And it's very important, this topic, for the healthcare professionals involved in clinical trials and clinical research. The data elements for transmission of individual case safety reports, all the adverse events that occur during the clinical trials. The periodic risk benefits evaluation report, the post-approval safety data management, definitions and standard for expedited reporting, the reporting, all the reporting of adverse events during the clinical trials and after in post-marketing post-marketing settings. So here for us the most important also is the E2E guideline with the ICH, which is the pharmacovigilance planning, to plan and to plan how to report the adverse events, how to collect the adverse events, and the safety data, the collection and the reporting of the safety data. So the E2E guidelines were released on November 2004, which is a guideline useful when planning pharmacovigilance activities, especially in preparation for the early post-marketing period of a new drug. So the main focus of these guidelines is on safety specifications and pharmacovigilance plan that might be submitted at the approval. So the safety surveillance of drugs is assessed, and this is the methods how to collect safety data is with the passive surveillance. We will have some examples in next slides. The stimulated reporting, to stimulate the reporting of healthcare professionals and patients. The active surveillance, the comparative observational studies, the targeted clinical investigations, which are calling also the descriptive studies, which we call the post-authorization safety studies after the approval of the pharmaceutical products. So what to report? This is also important. We report the safety data related to all marketed drugs, all the product complaints, the PTC, just as a reminder, it's product technical complaints, and adverse events. And adverse events, it can be adverse effects, side effects. We have different terms, are different in meaning also. That just to remind you, all this information are detailed within our certification and courses provided by Inno Vigilance and RX course. So we report also the investigational drugs, the serious adverse events within a during the clinical trials, the events of clinical interests, cancer, overdose, pregnancy and lactation adverse events. The individual case report, to report a case in pharmacovigilance, or a valid case report or pharmacovigilance case report, or an individual case safety report, or ICSRs for the pharmacovigilance professionals, is to have one patient, identifiable patient, one adverse drug reaction, one product, and one reporter. Here we go with the different methods to collect the safety data. we have first the passive surveillance. So it's not stimulated reporting or stimulated collection, but the passive surveillance is a non-systematic process of the reporting of adverse events or adverse drug reactions by healthcare professionals or patients or consumers. This is just passive. So when the patient experience an adverse event or the healthcare professional receive a complaint from patients regarding the adverse events, they just report without report spontaneously, which we call also the spontaneous reporting. The healthcare professionals and patients have all the information to report, the information to contact, so we can have the phone number of the consumer service to call the consumer department in the packaging of, for example, of the product, or also the communication with healthcare professionals have all the information. And now with the internet, just knowing the product itself or its information, its commercial or marketing name and trade, and the maybe the INN or the other information, we have the information, and we can go on Google or in source on the internet and have the phone number of the company or the service consumer department or service to call and to report those adverse events. So the reporting of events at the time of incidence or after some time, and no follow-up of the event progression or resolution. So just there's a delayed reporting. Sometimes the patient or the healthcare professionals, when they are aware of adverse events, they can report a day after, or a week after, or month after, or sometimes years after, and then the healthcare professional can report adverse events just delayed and occurred some days or some weeks or some months before. So in this passive surveillance, we have the spontaneous reports, as I mentioned in the last slide. We have also, and which is very important and evolving in the regulation, the medical and the scientific literature. So all the publications and papers by scientists, by academia, by healthcare professionals, talking about case reports or review of literature, just when they talking and when they are writing about products and the adverse events. So we have a huge amount of safety data in the different and scientific literature and medical journals and scientific journals. We have also a huge data in safety data in the social media, as now all the companies, the pharmaceutical companies, have their own channels, have Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, also the LinkedIn pages, and also they have pages just for the marketing, for marketing purposes, for their products. So these companies are advertising their products, and sometimes the patients, they can make comments, and in these comments they can complain about these products: lack of efficacy, adverse events, complaints, PTCs or product complaints, technical complaints. So all this data in the social media also, by the regulation in Canada, in the US, in Europe, and now also it's evolving in the other regions, the MENA regions around the world. The companies, pharmaceutical companies, must make a surveillance, a screening of social media and medical scientific literature. The other methods is to stimulate the reporting. So stimulated reporting occurs when reporting of adverse events or adverse drug reactions by healthcare professionals in an organized setting, and it's different than the spontaneous. In this, the stimulated reporting, we have all it's organized, includes online reporting or using a systematic reporting mode based on a pre-designed methods. So it's pre-designed reporting, it's stimulated. So we go to the information and to retrieve this information from healthcare professionals during clinical or studies, different studies, and also patient support programs in the pharmaceutical made by the pharmaceutical companies. So the active surveillance seeks to ascertain completely the number of adverse events, adverse drug reactions via a continuous pre-organized process, pre-organized, pre-designed process. Just the opposite to passive surveillance procedures. So we have methods like sentinel sites, reviewing of medical records in interviewing patients and of physicians for accurate and complete data reporting in healthcare settings, in clinics, also in hospitals. The advantage of direct information from patient subgroups. The most efficient to know drug users and also verify any discrepancy in laboratory values from online records. So all the healthcare records in health settings. We have also the drug event monitoring, so the patients identified from electronic prescription data or automated health insurance claims. It's very important here also the screening of the health insurance claims, and we can retrieve, we can find safety data after the users are using the pharmaceutical products. We can follow up with this information to complete all the information, helping us to assess, to make the better assessment for the causality between the adverse events and our products. We can send also a questionnaire or complete patient demographic, therapeutic data collected, all the information. So it's pre-designed studies, pre-designed methods and process. Also, we have the data that we can find in the different registries. The registry is, as you may know, a compendium of patients with a common disease, cancer registries, pregnancy registries. As we know, the pregnancy is not a disease, but yeah, all the registry is characteristic or specific events, and we can have all the information regarding the adverse events experienced by patients during their treatments. We have also the targeted clinical investigation. The targeted clinical investigations are exclusively designed clinical trials to investigate the effects of drug therapy in patients. And we have the clinical trials during the 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and the monitoring of adverse events that must be reported to the sponsor to make the surveillance and to assess the clinical adverse events. So these investigations also include the pharmacokinetic studies or the pharmacodynamic studies also. We have, on the other hand, the comparative observational studies. So the comparative observational studies are non-interventional studies, systematic research studies, or non-systematic modes of data collection may be included in applying this method. So cross-sectional studies, we have the case control studies and the cohort study. We have also the descriptive studies from a part of a whole pharmacoepidemiology, which is also a field which is related also and linked to pharmacovigilance. These studies help to obtain background information on the outcome of the events, of adverse events, or prevalence, their prevalence, or the prevalence of drug users in specified populations, by the natural history of disease and the drug utilization studies. So this is very, very important. In all this information, all this collection, how to collect this data. Just remember that we can have this information spontaneously from healthcare professionals, from patients, but also we can go and stimulate the reporting of this adverse event and all this data by pre-designed, by pre-organized programs, studies, clinical studies, in clinical trials on pre-approval, but also in the post-approval, pre-approval, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, post-approval, phase 4, with all the studies that we mentioned. It's very important. And just to say at the end that this is just the beginning of the journey in pharmacovigilance. This is just how to collect the data, but it remains also how to process this data, how to assess, how to prevent, how to monitor this data at the end, in the pharmacovigilance ecosystem, in the pharmacovigilance cycle. That you can have all these details and the following steps in pharmacovigilance cycle in our certification, in our courses, online courses. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. Very, very interesting subject. I was one of those who graduated from pharmacy school without having any idea about pharmacovigilance. So I believe it is very important. It is very crucial part of the education of any pharmacist. And the most inspiring part of this webinar, it particularly is the social media contribution to the adverse event collection. So no one would ever, imagine that social media is really playing a role in collecting social media. So I would like to ask you more about that, like in depth. Like, is there for example, I just want to imagine the thing. Like, for example, I'm a patient and I have taken a medication X and I have found some sort of side effect. Do I go to the page of the company and text them and tell them, well, I had diarrhea out of your medication? So from a patient perspective, like in a simplest way, how do a patient report a side effect using social media?
Yes, so using the social media, you can go. You have, of course, the medicine or the drug is identified, so you know the product. You know the product, so you know the company, which company. As now we are using this social media and technology and the internet, we have just our smartphone, so you can go and just search for the website of the company or the phone number of the consumer service or department, and you have the number, as here in North America, the 1-800 number, and in the other region. So you call and you report the adverse event. You can call, but also you can comment, you can contact. You have in all the websites now of all the companies how to contact us. So the email, by phone number, by also by letting just a comment, and they call you back to have more information.
Oh, very interesting. All right. So we have Raj. He's asking, are we going to have the slides of this presentation? So the answer to this, those slides are actually part of our certification course. So including the animation part of it and the infographics part of it, all of that and much, 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 much more. We have recorded over 1,600 minutes of pharmacovigilance. So you're gonna find that in the course, in the certification course. All right. Okay, so Mahmoud is saying, great presentation, Dr. Umar.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have PhD in microbiology, non-medical. I'm not sure what is your question, RAMA.
I can guess.
Yeah.
I can guess. Yeah, I can guess. The PhD in microbiology and in life sciences can be involved also in pharmacovigilance. Just in 2 days before or 3 days before, I had also a great presentation with the McGill students, university students here in Montreal, which are also they have PhD and master science in life sciences, in pharmacology, in biochemistry, in microbiology, and they asked also about the if they can join the pharmacovigilance field. So definitely, we in the pharmacovigilance field, the pharmaceutical companies, the health authorities, the hospitals and clinical settings, they are looking for qualified pharmacovigilance professionals. Also, there's a lot of options and a lot of openings just following the safety surveillance, the approval of now we have almost 6 or 7 vaccines for billions people will be vaccinated. So the surveillance of this adverse event following the vaccination or the vaccine campaign, they are looking for pharmacovigilance professionals qualified. And then just to answer your question, the PhD in and master sciences in life sciences, they can be hired, they can join the pharmaceutical company by the door of the pharmacovigilance field. But you must have the knowledge how to collect, knowledge of the regulation of pharmacovigilance. Is an asset and is must to have for these openings.
Okay, 100%. So, okay, so sounds good. Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. All right, so just want to remind you that you can visit www.innovigilance.com to have more details about the course, like the whole course, for who is it meant to be, success stories of our previous students. We have students who have already been in the pharmaceutical industry after the course, And if you would like to know the exact, let's say, syllabus of each of the packages, just visit rxcourse.com, because the courses are there and you can have a look on the exact syllabus. Okay, Leah is telling you very interesting, Dr. Umar.
Thank you.
Yasmin, she's asking, what is the use of stimulative surveillance?
Yeah, the stimulative surveillance. That was what we saw is the post-marketing surveillance, what we call also the early phase of pharmacovigilance. I just make the example of COVID-19, as we are at the beginning of the COVID-19 vaccination, and there is an increasing role of the pharmacovigilance during this pandemic, COVID-19. The stimulative surveillance is to go and retrieve the information, to stimulate, to not wait for patients and healthcare professionals to pick up their phone or to send emails or to report. Sometimes, as we know, there's an underreporting of adverse events. So we have some patients that just they don't want to report this data. They're not sure if it's important or not important. They don't have all the information. For the healthcare professionals also, they don't have time, and we make make efforts to facilitate to to healthcare professionals, especially also during this unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. They don't have time to report. Now there's some companies, IT companies, developed smart application in the smartphone, just to report rapidly, quickly, fastly the adverse events.
Yeah, I totally, I can relate to that. Like in my 5th year in university, we were making a project for diabetes medication adverse events. So we were like creating an application for that to distribute on pharmacies. So I can totally relate to that. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so Raj is telling you, excellent presentation, Dr. Umar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you so much, Raj. Raj is one of our current students, and we are very proud to have you with us here. Okay, and Katayon, great presentation, Sir Aimer and Shams. Thank you so much, Katayon.
Thank you, Katayon.
Katayon have graduated from the Platinum package too, so we are very proud of her as well. Okay, Aisha is clapping. Thank you, Aisha.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, Mahmoud, here in third world countries, there is a problem of underreporting. We don't get the information easily. How can we overcome this?
So, just to assure you that the underreporting is not just a third world problem; it's a global problem. The underreporting of the adverse events around the world is about 94% of underreporting. All this huge data is just 6% of the reporting of adverse events. And this, how can we overcome this, is just to stimulate the surveillance for health authorities, Ministry of Health, pharmacovigilance centers in the MENA region, in these countries, to stimulate, and they are beginning. As I'm involved in the International Society of Pharmacovigilance, I know I have a strong network, and I know many of them that are the regulation in those countries is evolving, and with the help of the World Health Organization and the Uppsala Monitoring Center.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Umar. I mean, are there any additional activities can the MAH do?
Yeah, the marketing authorization holders, they have, even they are in these countries, they have requirements with their headquarters in the regulated countries, because in the regulation and the pharmacovigilance regulation, we have the regulated countries and the rest of the world regarding the regulation. But the regulation is evolving and quickly quickly evolving in these countries regarding the pharmacovigilance these years, and also with this pandemic, there's also systems and pharmacovigilance systems that are evolving in these countries. The regulation, of course.
Okay, thank you so much. Yasmin is telling you thank you, Dr. Aimer. It was very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Samson Deepak, thank you so much. It was so informative. Could you please explain the difference between post-authorization safety studies and non-interventional studies?
The post-authorization safety studies is as our post-authorization. So the health authorities, they just give the approval, but with a commitment from, and with additional, they required additional information from the marketing authorization holders, especially for innovative products, innovative medicines, innovative drugs. There's like an agreement between the marketing authorization holder and the regulatory agency or the health authority, because the pharmaceutical company or MAH need to market its product, but the health authorities need this product for their patients. As just I also come back to the COVID-19 vaccines. So the COVID-19 vaccines was an emergency approval.
Yeah.
They accept because all the economies, all our countries are in need of urgent need of these vaccines. So I approve, and of course that the approval cannot be made without assessing the benefit risk balance. When there are more risks, never the health authorities give approval for where they have more risks than benefits. So when the benefits outweigh the risks, they give approval and ask for post authorization safety studies, or the PASS studies, to continue to have more information, because we have a new drug and we want to know how our drug will be reacting in the real world, the difference between the clinical studies when all is controlled, highly controlled environments, medical doctors, patients in clinical settings, surveillance, but in post-marketing settings, after the post-marketing, the things are different, and there are comorbidities, as all we know, the off-label use, so we can make an extensive surveillance. The non-interventional studies can be pre-marketing and post-marketing also, but they are different than the PASS or post-authorization safety studies.
Okay, hope that answered your question, Samson. Thank you so much. Noura, how might I make the transition from medical management to OV? PV or
PV. I think PV is just a typo. Yeah, PV. How might I make the transition from medical management to PV? Yeah, we have in the pharmacovigilance in the companies, they have fresh graduates.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh graduates might have a knowledge of this of the pharmacovigilance knowledge, the regulation of the case processing, of the activities, day-to-day activities, of the medical writing, of the reports that we are providing in our certification, in drug safety and pharmacovigilance certification. But they have also some professionals coming from the other department, from the other fields, and they learn and they are trained in pharmacovigilance, but they also their requirements with the openings that in job descriptions, requirements for the knowledge of the regulation, the knowledge of the guidelines, worldwide guidelines, ICH guidelines, FDA, European Medicine Agency, Health Canada. So yeah, for the global companies. So it's very important it's an asset. It's mainly a requirement for candidates, for the applicants to this kind of openings, to have this knowledge and the knowledge and this trainings. That's why we provide this certification and this training to prepare the applicants to the job market in pharmacovigilance. And the amazing information is just there's a report from financial companies about the pharmacovigilance market. So just to say that the last one in January 2021, the Global Research Review assured that the pharmacovigilance market worldwide were valued at more than $6 billion, and is to expect to reach $15 billion in 2028. So as I always mention, we are in the golden age of pharmacovigilance, and there's a lot of nice future for the pharmacovigilance in pharmaceutical companies, in pharma industry, and the other fields, academia also, and clinical hospitals. As just here in Canada, the Vanessa law, or the Vanessa law was the requirement of the reporting of adverse events from hospitals, and it's mandatory. The serious adverse event must be reported to health authorities within 30 days, and they are in need of pharmacovigilance professionals in hospitals also.
Yeah, so definitely this is the best time if you are trying, or you're thinking of career change and you don't know where to go. We believe that this is the best time for you to go through pharmacovigilance, because the demand is getting really, really high. All right, so Aisha, she's asking, how can I find internship opportunities in pharmacovigilance?
It depends on your location. So there are some some internships in the companies in the US, in Canada, in also in Europe, as I know, but there's not a lot of internships. And sometimes you have to get this knowledge with your own by your by yourself to get these certifications, this information, and to for the personal development before applying for such a jobs.
Okay. Okay, Nora, she's asking, how do you maintain data anonymous or anonymization?
It's a great question. Thank you, Nora. Yeah, we are talking about the GDPR in Europe, the HIPAA or the privacy anonymization of the data in the US. There's also a regulation regarding the anonymization of the data here in Canada and the other countries. So as for the global companies, they have affiliates in different regions, in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, in the MENA region, in the Latin America. So there's the data that are the communication from also between the regulatory agencies, between the European Medicine Agency, the FDA, the Health Canada, and the World Health Organization. So yeah, the information is maintained and anonymized before communicate all this data out of a region or out of a country.
Okay. Dr. Amina, I already visited the website and I was surprised of how informative it is. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Amina. I really encourage every single person of you to visit the website of Inno Vigilance and RX course. Yasmino, she's saying thank you for the generous presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, Brittany, how is this data stored and correlated? I specialized in data analytics with a background in toxicology, and I would love to move my career into pharmacovigilance.
So definitely, thank you for this good question. And as I said, toxicology, pharmacology, microbiology, the life sciences, PhD, master science, you will be welcome into the pharmacovigilance field. Just you have, as I said always and mentioned always, you have to get the knowledge. Just regarding this, our certification. We build this certification, this online course, just on a job description requirements. So for the students to get and to acquire during all the certification and the courses, all the requirements, the knowledge of the regulation, the increasing in communication, the pharmacovigilance activities, the medical writing for RMPs, risk management plans, the aggregate reports, all the activities. Even you have no information on pharmacovigilance at the beginning, you will, as our student told me, at the end, a pharmacovigilance ninja. So you can have all the ability to apply for those positions. How is the data stored and correlated? This is the following steps that we can see we can have in our certification. So the data is processed and stored in what we call the safety databases, and we have a training in our certification on the safety database, the well-known safety database in our certification. So also you are welcome to visit our website and to get in touch with us, with RX course, with our amazing RX course team to have more information, and we will be pleased to reply.
Okay, perfect, fantastic. All right, Susan, greetings from San Francisco. When does REMS program risk evaluation and mitigation strategies fall?
Good question also. So thank you, Susan. So the REMS are we are just in the beginning of the pharmacovigilance cycle, just collecting data. And if you remember in my first slide, at the end is how to prevent. And the REMS fall on the prevention. So we collect the data, we understand it, we assess it, we process it, we communicate this data with the health authorities and other departments, regulatory affairs within the company. So all this data, and we take action, because it's not just to collect data, but we collect this data, anonymous data, okay, and we assess it, we analyze it, we evaluate it, and we take action by preventing. And this prevention is to take the REMS program, the risk management plan, or the risk evaluation mitigation system as we call it in the US. So the terminology is different from region to another, from the US to Canada, from Europe, but the activities are mainly the same. And the risk management plans, the risk management measures to take action to prevent the occurring of those experiences, of those adverse events, another time for patients.
Okay. So Nadia, she's saying, impressive, Dr. Umar from Dow University, Pakistan. Welcome, Nadia.
Thank you. So we have Pakistan, we have San Francisco. It's really, and the certification is international. Yes. It's international, it's global in the certification. In this course, we have the regulation, the FDA regulation, the Health Canada regulation, the MENA region regulation, the Latin America regulation, the Chinese regulation, the Japanese, and the European regulation. And we're talking also about the Brexit and the MHRA regulation. So it's not just for North American to work in North America, but in all globally.
Okay, so that's somebody. Okay, so the app info is surely true in Pakistan. Drug Regulatory Authority just launched a smart app for pharmacovigilance reporting. That's amazing.
Yeah, I already heard about that. In Zimbabwe, in Africa, they launched also an application. So yeah, that's emerging of those applications to report adverse events in different countries and regions.
100%, yes. All right, Yasmina, thank you so much. Okay, I think this is a repeated.
You're welcome.
Okay, Fatima, thank you, Dr. Umar. Your student here. Hi, Fatima.
Thank you. Hi, Fatima. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. So, Maria, what is the name of the platform? Which platform?
I think the platform of the e-learning, is RX course. Yeah. So you can visit www.innovigilance.com, but also you can visit the www.rxcourse.com to get also the information and the other programs of RX course. Just to also for our attendees, that this certification and this course, Pharmacovigilance and Drug Safety course, are pre-recorded lectures. So you can learn at the student and the trainee can learn at their own pace, more than 30 hours and 25 lectures. You can just organize yourself and learn at your own pace. They are already on the platform and already pre-recorded. You can just apply and begin your journey in pharmacovigilance knowledge.
Fantastic. Okay, so Mahmoud again, thank you so much. I have one more question regarding the recommendation for temporary use, RTU in France. What does it mean to repeal a product from RTU, or the RTU of a certain product has ended?
So Mahmoud, I think maybe he knows that I already worked in France, in Paris, for 10 years. If you are joining us from Paris, so hello, Paris. Yeah, the RTU in France is a temporary approval for some products, interesting products, even the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 is not already completed. Just like emergency, also just for patients, some cohort or some patients, there's approval for products in need. When hospitals, when medical doctors, professors in clinical settings in hospitals required a drug, a medicine already marketed in other countries, but not with the approval in their country, in France, for example, and they make the proof that this is the only drug for their patients. The health authority, which is ANSM, Agence Nationale de Sécurité du Médicament, in France, so they give the approval, a temporary approval to use, or temporary use approval for this patient during during a period before the approval, after, if there's a need or a lot of need of this product in France, so they can go to a large approval, a normal approval for the product in France.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Rafiq, pharmacovigilance market is so huge. Are you thinking to export your concept to Africa and all over the world?
Thank you, Rafiq. Rafiq, I think he's from Paris. So thank you for joining us, my friend. And yeah, as we already said, it's a global. You know, this COVID-19 pandemic learned us that we are not alone in region, in Europe. We are not alone in North America. We are not alone in Latin America. We are not alone in Africa. So we are a global. The health is a global concern. And this is really what we learned first from this pandemic. Yeah, the vaccination is for all around the world. So we have to manage. We have to make this surveillance, and also yes, as I said, as mentioned, our certification, our course is in English, in global language, and is with the international. For the international students. Thank you, Rafiq.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mahmoud is asking, does it mean it's still valid for this use, or its use for certain indication is no longer effective?
Of course. So yeah, here we are going in details, and we are just where we are a little far from pharmacovigilance, but I'm really happy, as I always answer and reply this RTU in France are of course for certain indications, and just temporary with a limited duration for patients, a cohort of patients, of just one patient. After that, the professor or the medical doctor give the proof that it's the only solution or therapeutic solution for his patient or her patient.
Okay. Walid, okay, he's asking, is the course provided in French language?
A great question.
Very good.
Great question. We are looking for to develop, and it's really easy for me as I'm a French speaker. Je parle en français, donc je peux faire le cours totalement en français. Walid, merci pour cette question. Thank you for this question. But what I advise, we are all I'm a pharmacist and I was student. I'm pharmacovigilance professional. We are all looking to join global companies, and even in the French speaking countries, even in France, even in, I think that you're from Oran, if I see your background, picture background from Algeria. So I urge you to learn in English. And as I say always from our students, my English is just easy to understand, and I urge you to learn in English. But we are looking to develop in French in the next month, in 2021. But the English is very important, as even in France and French-speaking countries, North Africa, in the global companies, all the global companies, Novartis, Pfizer, all the companies, they are 80%. AstraZeneca, Roche, all the companies, 80% of their procedures, all their activities are in English. So yeah, my advice for you is to make it more in English than in French, but we can easily we are looking to develop in French.
Okay. Thank you so much. Safa, she's saying, thank you for the presentation, Dr. Umar. I want to know if the online course provide detailed information about periodic PV reports and RMPs. Thank you.
Thank you, Safa. Definitely. So we have at the at the end of the certification, the last lectures are about the signal detection, are about the risk management system, and in the risk management system we have the risk management risk minimization measures. We have the writing of the RMPs, which are risk management plans. Sorry. And the REMS in the US, the risk evaluation and mitigating system. Also, we have a course or lecture on the writing of the different aggregate reports, the PSUR, periodic safety update reports, the papers, the new format of those aggregate reports worldwide, but also the PADER, which is the aggregate reports in the US, and the ASR in Canada, which is the annual safety report. Also the DSUR during the clinical phase, which is the drug safety update report. So as I told you, we provide end-to-end training, end-to-end knowledge in pharmacovigilance. And we built it on the job description requirement. It's a job ready training, a job ready certification.
Thank you so much. Okay, Maxine, she's saying Jamaica is here too.
Welcome. Hi, Maxine. Thank you. And Maxine is a professor in pharmacovigilance in Jamaica, and it's a fellow member in the North American chapter. So thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I'm honored for you to be here.
All right, you enjoyed your talk, Dr. Aimer.
Thank you, Maxine.
Okay, the last question we have before we end this very, very interactive live meeting. Okay, so Hasib, he's asking, more stress is paid on self-motivation for PV knowledge. So are there any MOOCs which are free of cost or less costly, as third world country students can't afford much? Before we jump to Dr. Umar, I just have to remind you that everything is in Canadian dollars. So this is one thing to put in mind, that the course fees are in Canadian dollars, and Canadian dollars are less than the US dollars. So this is number one. Carry on, Dr. Umar.
So yeah, thank you. This cover the fees of the development of our certification. It's not as much as expensive, but this to provide and to spread the knowledge of pharmacovigilance, and we are really pleased to develop this certification, to develop this course, which is recommended by the American Society of Pharmacovigilance, and we are really proud of that. And this is just the huge collaboration from Inno Vigilance and RX course.
Yeah. So, and don't forget, Hasib, you can always take advantage of the offers that we make after each live webinar. We are going to email you a little tiny surprise, so you can take advantage of that as well. All right, Catherine, happy to hear you. Omar, very illustrative presentation. Greetings from Peru.
Wow. So thank you, Catherine. We have from Jamaica, from the US, San Francisco, from Algeria, I think, from France, from Pakistan. So yeah, we are really proud of our assistants and attendees. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all our students, all our attendees from all over the world. We are so honored to have you in this live webinar. Just to remind you, this is a series of webinars. It's going to be consecutive through the 2021. Okay, at the end of each month, we are going to have a PV related subject webinar, and we are going to have guests from all over the world. We're going to have guests from Iraq, Dr. Umar, right? From Europe, from Switzerland, from United States. We're going to have guests definitely from all over the world, or from the core PV countries. So thank you. Okay, we have another. Okay, and Egypt. We have another. Okay, so Mahmoud is in Egypt. Ibri, thank you so much, Dr. Umar. Samson, thank you, Dr. Umar.
Thank you, Samson.
Tunisia is here. Hello, Tunisia. All right, thanks, Dr. Umar. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic. I got really excited after all of your comments and cheerings. Thank you so much, everyone. So see you on the next webinar. And thank you so much, Dr. Umar, for the informative presentation. And we are very happy and glad for the collaboration and partnership we have with Inno Vigilance. We hope that we grow even better and we help the society and the world more and more to be more knowledgeable about pharmacovigilance, and that will definitely improve the safety and quality of life for patients. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for the surprise.
Thank you.